So it's not often when a new manga hits the block and completely just blows me away, something that is still fresh and gaining attention from all around with each and every day that goes by. And I've said this before with a plethora of other series in the past, but I just have this feeling that the manga we're going to be talking about today is going to be the next big thing. And that specific manga is none other than Gachiakuta, a series written and illustrated by former assistant of Atsushi Okubo, creator of both the extremely popular Soul Eater and Fire Force, Kei Urana. I originally came across this series after a note that was passed down from Okubo to Urana during the end of Fire Force's serialization, basically saying it's your turn and it's time for me to pass down the baton to you, my former assistant, which honestly got me super stoked for the starting serialization of this series. And right off the bat, everything from the character designs to the expressions and artistic art style of the crowds of the world seems to be very reminiscent and inspired by both not only just Fire Force, but Soul Eater as well. We can tell that simply Rudo, the main character in the series, is a twist and spin on both Shinra and Soul from the respective series of both Fire Force and Soul Eater. So when it comes to inspiration, Gachiakuta and Kei Urana are right there for the references, and I'm honestly here for it. So what exactly is Gachiakuta? Well, the story is based around half of a wall in a shanty town, or a slum rather, and there resides a place of descendants of where criminals live, and on the other half being where people on the other side of the wall discriminate against them and look down on them as tribal people. Rudo, our main character, is an orphan child who lives in the slums with his adoptive father Recto. Rudo typically makes a living by going around and using his unnatural physical abilities to make it through his day-to-day life. However, on one fateful day, he is accused of a crime that he has in no way, shape, or form committed. As punishment to his unwilling actions, he is thrown into what is known as the Abyss. The Abyss is what is used to dispose of waste and trash throughout the land, and it's what is surrounded by their city that the people of both sides live in. In short though, a summary. Our story begins though when our main character scours through some waste and trash in hopes to scavenge for anything he can find to sell. You see, on the other side of the wall, it's hard to make a living out of anything, and practically everyone except for a few, such as Rudo's alleged friend Chiwa, considers that side as tribal people, and aren't efficient enough to make any of them seriously, or just take any of them seriously for that matter. So they inevitably just throw them to the curb, including someone as great as Rudo's father. Surrounding by their city, as I mentioned just a bit ago though, is the Abyss, an empty, dark, and treacherous site where garbage and waste are dumped into, and even those who have sinned and or committed a crime are thrown into. Nobody quite knows what lies at the bottom, and the people of the city are certain it's a death sentence, and they would be right most of the time. And a big plot point to the start of the series occurs when Rudo heads back home only to know that his father was killed and the only person to blame is himself. And just as soon as things are starting to go his way, Rudo is convicted of a crime of killing his adoptive father and is sentenced to be thrown into the Abyss. He finds out right before being thrown in that his father's actual murder is standing right before his death. Rudo knows just how unfair and worthless the people around him are and vows to kill every single one of them if it's the last thing he does. Those were his last words before being thrown into the Abyss and sentenced to death. As Rudo is falling, he notices that he's not falling into a hole of darkness. He's actually falling from the sky and notices something in the distance, a strange object that even I can't make out to this day. And then boom, Rudo is awakened to a land of waste, a different environment of what feels new but is also reminiscent of home. They said it was nothing but a dump site of bodies and trash, but little did he know it was the start of a new beginning, and being surrounded by creatures he had never seen before. And this is when he finally found out what exactly the Abyss really was. The story continues from this point on and moving forward, with Rudo defending himself and finding a new friend named Engine along the way, who helps him to survive in the treacherous environment. He informs him that this isn't no dump site actually, that this is where people down here actually live, and for hundreds of years, the people of the sky have just been dumping waste into their land, causing unnatural causes and horrible global issues, not just for the habitats around, but for the people of the planet. It got so bad to the point where it started creating uninhibited life forms from the toxic waste. So you could probably make a brief understanding of just what the people on the ground have to deal with. I mean, if it was me, I'd probably do everything in my power to get into the sky and let them know like, hey, you know, there's people down here, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, nobody in the sky has any recollection of anybody living below them. As far as for the people down below though, they tend to call where they live as the underworld. Surrounding the area we know are these creatures created from literal waste, and in order to even survive down here is to fight. And luckily for the people of the underworld, they won't go easily down without a fight. and so it's pretty apparent with what it is used to take down these creatures in battle. In this series, characters use what are known as a jinki to fight off the creatures of the underworld. And you might be wondering, what even is a jinki? Well, it's pretty simple actually. For starters, there are only two types of people in this world. For one are people known as givers. Givers are well equipped and naturally born with fighting willpower to wield a jinki of their choosing. But for two are just the regular born people that it's up to them to choose whether they want to work to properly train to wield a precious item or die trying. The power system in this series right off the bat is being introduced in a very unique way in my opinion, but also keeping that sweet shonen feel to it that we all love and enjoy. And because it all revolves around each and every single individual in the manga, this just sets up so much more unique possibilities for the future of the series. And honestly, unlike most shonen series these days, it's felt like it's been quite some time since we moved past the current era of battle shonen. With both My Hero Academia and Black Clover coming to a close soon on top of Fire Force just recently finishing and others like Jujutsu Kaisen to end within the next year or so, we're gonna have to start making a wave with a few series to stack up to what will be known as the next generation of battle shonen. And I think Gachiakuta is a perfect fit for that, along with of course a few other notable faces out there across a variety of shonen magazines. While on the topic though, with the series only having as of this recording 10 or so chapters, Gachiakuta can easily be cut at any point in time. But with this series gaining as much popularity as this one as of late, and with the phenomenal story so far and artwork to keep everything going, I don't think we'll really have to worry about it being cut anytime soon, hopefully. So what can we expect from Gachiakuta moving forward? Well, without really spoiling anything, because I'm trying my best to keep this a spoiler-free review besides like the first chapter or so, things are still being built up as they should with a 10 chapter or so series. The world is being expanded on with each and every chapter that goes by, and same for its power system and in introducing new characters. Honestly, I'd love to see a villain group from this series, considering that character designs are just so well done, and seeing that implemented onto the antagonist of the series would be absolutely insane. And there's still just so much more to look forward to, but at the pace Gachiakuta is going in right now, I can see it easily becoming the next big thing within the next coming year or so. But all in all though, that's probably where the series is headed, and I think considering everything so far from Gachiakuta with its characters and built up world, there's still so much more to come. And if you're watching this video now and never even heard of this series, do yourself a favor and go and check it out. Let's all hop on the weekly experience for this series and have fun and just look forward to the future of Gachiakuta. Because to tell you the truth, you're not going to want to miss out on what's to come next. But to close things out, this has been Augie. Make sure to do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, comment, and subscribe for more. I talk about your favorite series when I want to, and check out my Twitter and Instagram at AnimeAugie, because you know that's what we do at the end of videos. Later, everyone.